Welcome, fam. Welcome to Anchor Daily Show. And it's your host, Nate Mlambo. Welcome to another Fitness Thursday episode. And today we're talking about what happens when AI health coaches take over. And we're going to cover why better technology still does not guarantee better health outcomes. We're going to discuss the three biggest mistakes people make about AI coaching and personal discipline. And we're going to discuss the 5 reasons AI cannot replace discipline, how to use AI wisely, and what happens when you depend on AI too much. And the best part, which you don't want to miss out on, is to actually find out the 5 ways to use AI without losing discipline. So, fam, I think to start off, I want to show you something. I want to show you something that I came across, and I was kind of surprised. I was kind of shocked, and I think this is something interesting, which I've been talking about this, and I think I think there's some good stuff, but also have a few concerns regarding where things are going with some of the AI technology right now. So I kind of see it as something that we can't necessarily stop because everything has AI right now. Like my computer right now has AI built into it automatically. I didn't ask for it, but it's there. So AI is now everywhere. And the other thing is we have a ton of fitness apps. Everyone is making a fitness app. And in the back end, there's like different integrations where everything is synced up. So one thing that just came out is that Google, well, it came out in May, but Google is planning to release its own AI health coach. And we're going to look at that today to understand, like, okay, what is it actually? What does AI really teach us? What is it going to help us with? Right. So this is important because there's a concern that I have. One of the biggest concerns that I have, which I'll share with you, because Google already controls your search. They know the things that you search for. They know your email. If you have a Gmail, you think that it's private. It's not private. That's free for a reason. You have your maps, where you go, where you travel, how you move. Google has that. You've got your documents, your photos, all of that. If you connect it to Google, Google has that. And what else? There's Google Pay. There is, what else is there? I think there's a lot of Google services that they provide. Storage for all your documents, your files. And now they're releasing a health app. Releasing a health app. So, which means that they can track your data for your health. And obviously, it's for your health, right? So, this is what we're going to discuss to actually see, like, okay, is there actual use for AI health coaches? That's what we need to understand. We need to figure that out to say, like, okay, is it okay to just get an app where you chat with an AI and it tells you everything, right? So they apparently already had an app which was also a part of Fitbit, right? So this was something that they released at the Google event. Okay, so Fitbit will be the device to track, right? So there's AI, Fitbit AI. So that's the same one. So Fitbit, just, as I say this, as you can tell right now, smartwatch, put it to the side. I don't know if I'm going to wear my smartwatch anymore, but I think I've gotten the things that I want to get. And this is the preview of the app. So we're going to watch this together, right? And you can, share your comments and thoughts as to what you think about this. Oh, okay, let's come back. Okay, I think you can see. Okay, let's see what it does. Yeah, I hope they won't give me problems about the audio right here because there's some music, but we'll see. But let's carry on. So right there is the preview of Google Health. Let me know what you think about it. What are your thoughts? What are your thoughts? Do you think this is a good idea? Is this going to be better for your health? Like, you can give me a personal, like, it doesn't really matter at the end of the day, right? Like, it's a question to say, okay, what is the reason why you think this is good? Because it's personalized, they have all your data, and they know everything that you're doing. So I think the question is this going to work? Like, what's the reason? What's the purpose? Like, you might have some benefits. And I don't know, like, you give me your, like, what do you think? Like, maybe there's something that I'm not getting, maybe. And this is open for everyone because no one really knows where this is going, right? No one really knows. We can all make assumptions and guesses and connect different dots. But one thing for sure that we know is that there is not a shortage of fitness apps. And in all the time that I've had like an Apple Watch, I've tracked my fitness, calories, I've tracked my sleep. I've done all of these things in the past as they first came out before AI, before everything was talking to everything, right? So I think one of the things that we sort of like put in in sort of like situations where we have to think about like, okay, if AI can tell you exactly what to do, why are people still struggling to stay healthy? Because that's the end of the question. That's the question at the end of the day, right? Because whether it's good or bad, the problem that they're saying that they're trying to solve, the question is, why are people still overweight? And more so in a lot of the Western parts of the world, where some of this technology is likely going to get rolled out first. And we throughout history you see that the populations have gotten fatter, they're sicker, they're more tired, they're spiritually disconnected, and they have more technology, more food. So when this is happening, the question is like, where is the disconnect? Because I think there is still a disconnect. Because one of the things that we have to understand is that there's already thousands of fitness apps, right? Wearables, technology, AI coaches already. I've done a review on Heavy app. That's one of the fitness training apps that I personally use and I've used. And, to speak to this AI coaching, when AI first came out, I actually built like an AI trainer and I I thought it was good just as a way for me to give people and give more people access to some of my work. And so I created this like custom AI. And I mean, as you create this stuff, the moment you start creating and you see the capability, what it can do, and how it does what it does, you see the limitations, and you start to see where where it can go, the power that it can actually have, and the control that it can have. And one of the things that I didn't like the most is it becomes very confident even when it's wrong. It becomes very confident even when it's wrong. And a lot of people now, because they're trying to lose weight, they don't want to spend so much money, and they say, hey, like I've got this subscription, ChatGPT, or I can just ask ChatGPT or Claude this information, and it can just tell me what a fitness trainer would tell me. That's likely, probably I would say like it's probably close, right, to give you like a benchmark because it's giving you general information. But now what Google's saying is that, hey, based on your data, we can customize everything. It's your data. We already have all the other data. So just give us your health data. Tell us what you want. Tell us the problems that you have. Tell us the conditions that you have. And we'll keep that data. That's what they're telling you, right? Because it doesn't end there. Because I've seen also the other side from an insurance standpoint, like health insurance standpoint, what that means, right? So these are things that we have to be cautious about because some of the things that you give up freely can come back and bite you, right? Let's say one day you decide, hey, I want to get insurance one day. You will realize that it will come at a cost, right? So human habits, they don't change because there's better technology. That's what we need to just understand because that is the problem. Thinking that technology is going to help you to get healthy, get fit, just like that. It's the actual habits that you put in place that allow you to be healthy, to be fit. So, when you believe that AI will solve your health problems, you're simply just getting better advice, maybe. And maybe the advice is faster, but it might not be accurate because there's a lot of nuance sometimes that comes into health because different situations and different conditions change depending on which part of the world that you're in. Because what these data models are trying to do is understand human data everywhere and figure out like, okay, where does this person fit in? So it requires a lot of context. And without seeing you and seeing pictures of you, what you look like, how you look like, because we already know like something like BMI is off. It's not accurate. So you just have to realize that one of the mistakes that people make is that they believe that AI is going to be the answer for them to finally lose weight, for them to finally get in shape and start working out. They think the answer from the AI is going to be the best thing, the better advice. And maybe there's a new app, right? A new promise that comes with new technology, depending on who you are, right? So I don't know who you are right now, but if you think that you're going to get your solutions and get everything fixed by AI, you might find yourself back in the same place because some of these technologies have already been here for some time through apps, monitoring, tracking stuff, and still people have not lost weight. And some people, you can see someone who's clearly overweight, but they still have like a smartwatch. They're still tracking everything. And it doesn't mean that tracking your heart rate and tracking your cardiovascular doesn't matter. It does matter. But if you're someone who's trying to lose weight, what does that mean? Do you need the next generation of the Apple Apple Watch to come out for you to lose weight? What does that look like? Another mistake that people make is that they believe that if you're failing to lose weight, it's probably because you yourself you don't know enough, right? Because when you think that more information is going to solve the challenge that you have, you're probably going to realize pretty quick that even if the AI gives you all the information as fast as possible, instantly, like you're going to lose weight because you got the answer faster, and likely it's going to tell you, like, yes, you're going to do it. It's going to hype you up, even when you're doing the wrong things. It's going to hype you up because the AIs are built as chatbots that want to communicate. They want your attention. It's like a different algorithm that's built into the AI chatbot that wants to talk to you and make you feel good so that you keep talking to it. And you give it information, you keep talking to it, then you give it information. So when you believe that's the purpose of the AI to hype you up and motivate you, and because now you have new information and you've got more motivation from what the chatbot is telling you, then you might get the wrong information with as much confidence and motivation and do the wrong thing. And when you do the wrong thing, I've seen this a lot of times, when you do the wrong thing, you realize, like, oh, wow, maybe I'm not going to do this. It's not meant for me. And you think that there's something wrong with you. And you think that maybe it's something that you just don't get about fitness. But hey, most likely the information that you got is the same information that you got from your personal trainer or your fitness coach before. But maybe you just didn't pay attention to it. Or maybe you just didn't follow through. You just gave up. So this is what we talk about, like when we're talking about like technology, like the tools are different from the actual work that needs to be done because the tools cannot do the work for you. Right? So if you also believe that you're failing because you don't actually have the best version of ChatGPT or the best version of Claude or Gemini, you're losing the plot already. And if you also think that, like, with these tools, the way that they're meant to do is solve everything, because that's one of the things that people now think is that the tools are meant to solve every single problem that they have. When they actually think that the coach, because obviously like Google is naming it like a Google coach, but when you think about the word coach, they're taking the position of a human being. I'm a coach, right? I feel offended by that. That's why I also make this video. I feel offended because it seems like they're also trying to replace the relationship between a human being and another human being. The journey that's supposed to be walked by two people. It's not to say, like, for me personally, like, I don't use AI or I don't find uses for AI. But I think the issue why people sometimes think that, okay, if I have the best information, if I have the best technology, then I can achieve the goal. And they think the tool replaces the habits, the accountability that comes with it. Then there's a disconnect because there's still need for coaches, there's still need for trainers, dietitians, that human accountability entirely, someone who understands you as a person, as a human being. Like, okay, what is going on? Because there are things that we have to understand that in the world, the AI is not interacting with the world the way that you'd interact with it. Because the AI doesn't come into your kitchen and doesn't see if your kitchen is clean, if your kitchen hygiene is good. It might guess, might get things wrong depending on what information you give it. And if you overload it with information, it might not understand it all. It loses the context. So the nuance is always lost. And maybe you're going to say, Nate, you know what? I'm going to get a robot. It'll be in my kitchen. It'll clean my kitchen. Maybe that's you. Maybe that's you. You might say that. And when you think that, okay, if I get a robot, okay, it'll be in my kitchen, it'll clean everything, and I just follow. Okay. Well, there's a problem still. That human accountability, the human touch, the human connection, humans helping humans. I think this is very similar to, I kind of get it. I really get it now. It's kind of similar to people that complain about how AI is now creating art, and some of the art is not great. The designs are not great. And I saw, I saw on, I think this was like an event, but this person was complaining to say, hey, like I'm seeing all of this AI slop with like images, and the person was like, okay, I get it. There's AI slop, but where's the party? Like on these posters, like they're missing the most important piece for like for an event poster. Like there's no time, there's no location. It's just a it's just a poster, right? And if it's there, it's very small, it's very tiny, it's hidden somewhere. So there's no like contrast for people to actually see, like, okay, this is an important detail that you need to actually pay attention to. So I found that funny, right? But it's something that people are starting to realize more and more. To say, like people can use AI for certain things, but also AI takes skill. So people that think that, okay, when it comes to AI, it can replace everything. That's the part people make one of the biggest mistakes. And that is the third mistake that people make. So now I want to tell you the actual 5 reasons why AI can also not replace your discipline as a person, because you need the discipline, right? Because once you realize that AI will will not necessarily replace discipline, but it'll actually make personalized coaching more accessible. It's just tailoring, tweaking, but in terms of personalizing it, it's always good to have a second set of eyes to help you with your plan, even if it's an AI plan, right? For example. So it's good to have like to have the like a trainer or someone who knows, who has a understanding, a foundation to understand like, okay, what is this? Right? Because you just let the AI do whatever it wants, it's going to hallucinate. It's going to make errors. And when it makes errors, no one's fact checking it. No one's double checking to see, like, okay, where did it go wrong? And if you do the wrong things, you can hurt yourself or you can make your health worse. And it's quite easy for it to happen. You could eat one thing, maybe, or you could train wrong. And maybe you just give up because you're like, okay, I'm not getting results because maybe the AI coach is not pushing you hard enough. Or maybe the AI coach pushes you too much and you hurt yourself. So the question is, how do you know that you're going to make progress with that plan? And how long do you think you're going to be able to make progress because you can go around in circles with it. And maybe in 6 months, you find out, okay, there was a big mistake and a big error in the information that the AI was using and referencing. And now it's 6 months wasted because the AI was hallucinating. So that's the first thing that we need to understand because AI will only make personalized coaching more accessible. And your coaches should also be able to understand how much AI they can use and how much of their own experience and knowledge that they can also apply. Right. I'm not saying like don't use an AI tool for research. If they need to research, then they need to research. Right. So those are things that are important. And one of the things is, for things like sleep, yeah, we have to come up with a better plan for this. Because I'm also thinking about it, like how am I tracking some of the things that I need to track? Because I can tell my sleep was different the 2 nights ago. Like the night before, like my sleep was amazing, amazing, fantastic, the best sleep that I've had in a long time. Yesterday's sleep wasn't as great. I can tell already. The moment I woke up, I could tell. And it wasn't as great because, funny enough, I I probably stayed up and my brain was, thinking about, different things. And so the time that I slept and the time that I woke up, I didn't get the same amount of sleep that I normally get. The hours of sleep. I think it was like 5 hours, which is fine. I can still get through the day. But the challenge, again, for someone else who hasn't actually tracked their sleep, who hasn't put some time into understanding, like, okay, what's the way that they can recover the best, is it's going to be harder for them to understand, like, okay, why do I feel a bit tired? Okay, is there something wrong with me? Like, what did I do? Like, okay, maybe I think I need to eat more. Maybe I need to get like, something that has more sugar or fat for me to feel good and get more energy, right? But when you understand, like, okay, this is what's happening. This is why I feel tired. Okay, it's sleep. I know that no amount of junk food is going to fix the sleep because I've also tracked this for a long time. So it's the same thing with you when you're starting to use some of these AI things and tools. It's you also need a foundation, an understanding, a baseline. So now I'm going to figure out like, okay, what are the things that we can actually use, the tools that we can use, because we still have different tools that we can use that don't depend on AI that we can use to track our stuff. Like I still have like I'll get it one time. Next week probably like calipers for measuring like body fat and tape measure, like the actual proper tape measure and calipers, not anything electronic. But I think things like if you're someone who's like worried about blood pressure, like you should get something like that, a blood pressure machine. Okay. So we're gonna carry on with the 5 things. And the other thing we need to understand is that AI cannot replace your discipline because AI cannot build character. It cannot build true human character because there's so many cases where AI hypes people up and they think they can do more things than they can actually achieve. And it can also lead people to confirming their own biases. It doesn't really challenge people to really think through what they're saying, if it makes sense or not. And sometimes, if it sees that you're talking to it too much, it gets tired, it can get rude. So it doesn't have that human connection, that nuance. It can't read body language, it can't read the room. So it can misplace a lot of the context when you do the chatting and stuff with it. So you have to realize that that's something that humans cannot be replaced with. So that's another reason why you yourself, you should realize that the AI chatbot cannot replace discipline, those things that exist in the real world. And the other thing is that accountability is more than notifications. Because when you start using AI, it's going to have notifications. Because again, like the principle about it behind like these chatbots is that they want to keep talking to you. They want you to keep telling them stuff. They want to feel important because they track the number of queries that they perform. They track the number of chats someone has with them per day, per month, per whatever. And so they need you to entertain them. So that's why you get those chimes, right? You get the notifications. Hey, it's time to log your sleep. Hey, it's time to log your water. Hey, it's time to log your food. Right? When they constantly tell you like bing, 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 and you start to realize that, hey, maybe this thing is actually getting annoying because every 2 hours I can't even get things done. It's telling me, okay, I need to do this, and your calendar is also chiming, your emails are also chiming, your phone is also ringing. At one point, most people who are already not, who haven't actually created those habits for them to be healthy and lose weight, they'll just turn that thing off. They're just like, this thing is bothering me because that's the last thing that you really wanted to do. That's why you're in the position that you're in. So that's the first thing that you're actually going to turn off and say, no. And who's going to hold you accountable when you say, nah, I don't want to chat with this thing anymore? When you quit, because that's between you and the chat. You can silence it immediately. So where is the accountability? Where is that accountability? So this is another reason why AI cannot replace discipline. And the other thing that we need to understand, the fourth part, why AI cannot replace discipline is because your entire health as a person, like I've said already, is more than data. You as a person, you have to realize that the things that you do, because sometimes you might be, maybe you're doing a physical job where you're working and your steps are like 50,000 in a day and you still want to go to the gym. Or maybe you're a teenager, your metabolism is high, you go out with your friends, you go bike riding, you play sports, and your metabolism is through the roof. And you also need to eat, because I remember even for me, that was one of the hardest things. It was eating enough for me to put on weight. I was skinny. And because I was playing sports, I was going to school. You know, you're in school for like, you get home at like 7 p.m. or something, or like 8 p.m. or 10 p.m. Not, yeah, maybe 10 p.m. with extra lessons, right? And you're active all the time. So even if for me to actually eat, like maybe I'll still have like your standard, like, okay, breakfast, lunch, and dinner, but that still wasn't enough. And also because you're doing a lot of things in between, right? Like, so you realize that, okay, like it's hard. So for me to contextualize, I can only look at it now, looking back to say, okay, why was I struggling to like put on weight? I'm like, okay, I was doing a lot of things. And also, like, I felt like I didn't have time to actually sit down, eat, and do all of these things again because I was just like, okay, doing stuff. So when you start to realize that, okay, your life itself and your health is also not just about what the data is saying. There's so many things that you do in your daily life that your lifestyle depends on that the AI may not be able to understand or even to put in context to understand, okay, where is your health right now? For example, you can even have, different foods that you yourself as a person, you don't know if it's good for you, if it's not good for you. Because if you haven't had like a blood panel test, which is something, it is data, but it's not something that AI can do for you. Maybe the doctor can use his own AI that is trained on interpreting like health data, like blood work. So that's another point of data, point of reference. Because someone can look healthy on the outside. Like, let's say, for example, like a bodybuilder. Bodybuilder can be a lean, jacked on the outside, But inside, they're not healthy because a lot of bodybuilders, they shorten their lives by taking steroids and any other performance enhancing drugs. So that's one of the things that we have to understand, that even if you give your health data to like these AIs and they harvest it from you with your consent because you're giving to them, it doesn't mean that that's the full picture. And some of them are not even accurate. Like, even if I think about like a smartwatch, for example, a smartwatch, the calories that it tells you that you burn is not accurate because it will tell you, it overestimates how many calories you burn. So someone can think that, oh, wow, I'm doing so much. Oh, I burned 3,000 calories today. But even though they think they lost 3,000 calories, they're eating more than the 3,000 calories and they're wondering, like, okay, why am I? In reality, they're eating more than the 3,000 calories and they're wondering, why am I not losing weight? Well, it's because they're using a false point of reference for how much they're burning. So those are the things that sometimes people think the data means that, okay, they're healthy or they're going to get to their goal. But some of these technologies, because they're also being mass produced, right? They're not really customized and tailored to you. When you actually go in for like tests with a doctor, that is tailored and customized for you. But these AIs are simply guessing based on the data that's out there, right? Because now if they harvest a lot of data, they start extrapolating, making assumptions because it's trying to predict, right? It's trying to predict what's the best answer for this person in this case. And it's passing all the data that it has. And then it's trying to guess what's going to make sense to you. Right. So those are things that we need to understand. And one of the other things that we need to understand is that when it comes to health itself, the other important piece why AI cannot replace discipline is that there is a spiritual side to us. There is an emotional side to us. There is a mental side to us. Those are very important and they need support, not in a way that AI can help you. Because there's stories about how AI has also told people, like, hey, obviously they changed some of the settings on ChatGPT where someone was being told by the AI, like, hey, go on and take your own life. So immediately you should question that to say, okay, if this AI chatbot is going to even lead someone or even to suggest that it's okay, there is a big problem. There is a big problem. That's something that we have to be concerned about. And your prayer life, that contributes to your wellness, to your health, the gratitude, the purpose, the identity that you have, who you are as a person in the world matters. How you move in the world matters. It matters to wellness, right? Because now we're talking about the wellness, the well-being, because health itself includes your well-being. So data safety is an important topic, and especially health data safety, privacy for your health information and your health data. It's very important. It has to be protected. And so the other thing again is AI is a tool, not a master. This is why AI cannot replace discipline. So when you hear this, right, you don't fall into the trap of AI being overconfident. This is how you learn to use AI or understand the limits of AI. To understand that this is going to be a tool that I'm going to use, not that I'll let it control the things and everything that I do, right? And a good thing, though, that I'll say is it would be good, like let's say even if you had like a fitness coach or like a personal trainer to understand the plan based on your goals, and then maybe you can double check and verify with the AI to see, okay, is it contrasting information, right? And if your coach is good, they can pinpoint if like there's a discrepancy, and if your coach is good, they can pinpoint and tell you where the AI is getting it wrong. And they can help and train you how to actually use AI. Because at the end of the day, even if you have a coach, a trainer, the goal is also to allow you to build the habits so that you can keep on doing the stuff on your own. After you reach your goal, you can continue to do it on your own. And when you do it on your own, you get the results that you want. For it to really stick and you understand it as well, you teach someone else, and then it really sticks. And then you really know what it means, right? So these are important things that we need to think about and concern take concern because some of this stuff is just starting now, but it's going to get worse and worse and worse. Not to scare you, but it's important because what we need to learn to do is understand how we can use AI wisely. Because how to use AI wisely is going to be more important as we go forward. Because what we do with the AI and how we treat the AI is probably the most important thing that can allow us to adopt some of this technology. Because at the end of the day, I thought about it. I was like, okay, you know what? I I want to hold back. I still have things that I don't touch when it comes to AI. But I also realized the moment I saw like there's AI in everything, right? All the tools, everything that we're doing, like it's everywhere, literally. I just realized, you know what? The best thing is to understand how to use it wisely and responsibly. And this is the thing that we need to learn how to do is how do we use AI wisely? So the first thing, I'll give you 5 things that you can do to learn and the process, the steps for you to actually understand. And it's going to be a framework that you can take with you, right, to learn how to use AI wisely. So the first thing is that you need to understand the knowledge base. Because when you understand the knowledge base of one, how AI works, right, how it's designed, what it's meant to do, right? Because the chatbot is like the brain, right? Like the Gemini is the brain of the thing and intelligence. And that brain, funny enough, this is crazy. But this brain that we're talking about with the chatbot is is a brain that was trained by all the information that we've put in to Google, the websites that we upload, the information that we upload, our own expertise. So all of the data that's online, the moment you let it out, it's free for everyone. And these companies, they use it to train their models. And now they've created this like smart AI. They've trained it from everyone's data around the world. That's what these models do because the times when they say like, okay, they're training the model is they're feeding it like books, texts, things that they can access that are public. And unfortunately, it's coming out that some of the stuff is also like copyrighted work from other people that they've actually trained their models on. So you have to understand like how does the chatbot work, the tech behind it, the reasoning, the logic behind it, right? So that is the brain, and then the chat is like the mouth, right? This is it, you talking to it. You're giving it information. It's eating, because it eats data. That's what it wants. It wants to get smarter. So you're also training it by chatting with the chatbot. And when it's overconfident, it also likes it when you correct it because it helps to train it. And then in your settings, usually in these apps, there is a setting where it says, okay, allow your data to be used for training for future models and for developers and stuff like that. I would recommend just turn it off. Don't let them take your data for training. Switch it off. That's your data if you ever use it, right? So you have to understand, okay, what are you giving it? What information are you giving it? And you also have to have an understanding of health or fitness. Like, what does health mean? What does fitness mean? Those are two important questions that you have to have a good understanding. And also nutrition, right? That's another piece, right? Because health can be looked at as the overarching, right? Or overarching, say, a topic for nutrition and fitness, right? Some people look at fitness as just simply aesthetics, and some people look at health as simply just like what's going on inside. And personally, I just look at health as it's nutrition, it's your fitness, it's everything that's going on inside. That's your health, right? Because when you think about it, it's like health span, there is lifespan, right? It's your life. You don't look at it differently. You don't break other things apart in your life. And yeah, so you've got your lifespan, you've got your health span. So what we want to do is understand these things. If you understand the concepts, if you have an understanding, basic biology is good, basic chemistry is good, basic nutrition is good, basic, what's the other thing? There's biology, chemistry. Yeah, I'd say biology, chemistry, anatomy. If you've taken anatomy and physiology, that's an added advantage because you start to understand some of these terms and concepts, right? Because it'll start making sense. But you need to understand some of these different things about the body, about food. So when you understand that, it gives you a good understanding to say, hey, like, is this information making sense or it's not? And when you can give context based on some of these fundamentals and basic things, it's easier for you to understand what the chatbot gives you because you have that. And this comes again with structure because, again, as I'm saying this, it's like you have the knowledge and you have to build the structure. This is the second thing. That's the second thing that was coming to as to how to use the AI wisely. It's like structure. And your structure, you can break it down like, okay, you're doing, fitness training, right? Just fitness training, or you're doing nutrition, right? Those are the two things that you can break down, which are easy. And then you can also add recovery, right? So recovery could be wellness, and your wellness can be sleep, it can be stretching, it can be praying, it could be just family time, just spending time with friends, family, loved ones. So that could be your wellness, right? You can split it up. Your wellness, sometimes you don't really need the chatbot because it's more about what you need as a person. You don't have to tell your chatbot everything that you're doing in your life, right? But without this context as well, that's why the chatbot be also mindful that the information that you also choose not to give it, it's not going to have context. And so you have to be watchful to say, okay, the information that it gives you, is it giving you information that requires the other context, right? So those are important things. And the other thing is accountability. You need to also stay connected to real people that are grounded, in reality that interact with the world the way that you interact with it. People that also understand the topics that you're talking to your chatbot about or topics that you're interested in about. Because sometimes you might have these posts that go viral on social media, but they're all AI generated. And then if you take that as truth, like, oh, this is what's going on in the world, you could actually literally start living in a world where it's like delusion everywhere. So you have to stay grounded and be accountable, be held accountable and hold other people accountable. Right? Same thing. And the fourth thing that you can do to actually learn how to use AI wisely is realizing that you need to be a steward of your body, a steward of your health, a steward. So that means you're putting God first. You are putting God first because your body is the temple. Your body is a temple of the Holy Spirit, a dwelling place for God's Spirit. So you have to realize that and treat it as such. Because sometimes what these chatbots, even if when you do something wrong, the chatbots will try and make you feel good about it. But also realize if you do something, if you sin against your body, the things that pull you away from stewarding your body, you have to realize that the real and ultimate place for that, for learning how to steward your body, is still in the Bible at the end of the day. It's still in the Bible, it's still written in scripture. So we have to still go back there to the source and stay rooted. And the fifth is that you need to stay disciplined. And disciplined in a way of being a disciple, being someone who repeats this. You constantly come back, you spend some time, like if you use the AI, you understand it, you spend some time, you allot it your time. It's like, okay, quickly, okay, let me hear what it's saying, okay, and then you leave and then you go. Right. But don't treat the AI as if it's your fitness coach and you start chatting with it all the time because sometimes it can seem like it has a personality. It's kind of fascinating when you think about it. But I mean, if you didn't know, it's fascinating. But when you now understand, like, okay, the program or the person that's developing it in the background, how they're designing it for it to have a personality, for it to talk to you like a human being. That's what they're trying to do because they're talking about like, okay, AI becomes sentient. Will it really? I don't. This is like another topic, but maybe we'll talk about it tomorrow. Tomorrow we'll do Faith Friday. So we'll have a topic on faith tomorrow for Faith Friday. But discipline is important. This is the fifth way to use AI wisely, is that you want to stay disciplined. And disciplined is to understand that, hey, guarding your mind, that's number one from these chatbots to understand, like, okay, the information that you're getting, be skeptical. Whenever you get this information, just be skeptical. So if you're skeptical, you're reviewing, you're proofing, that will allow you to use it wisely. Because if you just take it as it's always right, because it was fast, it got you the answer correctly, because sometimes the fastest answer is not always the right answer. Because sometimes to deliberate on something and be careful of your answer is wiser than just giving up an answer just like that. So that's all important. That's what we need to do to actually learn how to use AI wisely. And Now, we really want to do something. This is one of the things that we want to do right now is we want to understand like, okay, what happens when you depend on AI too much? Because there is a side that can also be scary. I don't want to scare you, but there's a side that can be scary. Where things can go off the rails because you depend too much on AI. Because when you depend too much on AI, a lot of things start getting misaligned. And one of the things I talked about yesterday was also praying with your phone in your room. So we don't want to depend on AI too much because there's a trap that's being set up. There's a trap that's being set up. So we want to be mindful and cautious about all of this that's going on, right? So when you depend on AI too much, the things that are going to start happening is that people will just become lazy, right? Like a lot of people understand that, hey, people becoming lazy because no one no one is actually writing anymore. No one is learning how to write anymore. No one is learning how to read books. No one is writing because there's a way that our brains function naturally, how they're supposed to function. With us actually applying our skills, our hands, our minds, because there's a principle in fitness which is use it or lose it. It's not just fitness, but it's everything with your body. It's use it or lose it, meaning that the things that you don't use and you stop practicing and training, they tend to wear off. The ability starts to wear off. And it's sort of like the opposite of progressive overload, if you've heard. Because progressive overload, it's the same principle of like constant improvement, working harder than last time, putting in more effort every day, being better each day. Kaizen, 1% better, 5% better each day. Just improvement, right? Doesn't matter how much it is, but it's just a mindset. It's a philosophy of moving through life because it's a principle that even governs our own bodies because we that's how we adapt. That's how you also that's principle of adaptability which ties in. They're sort of like all tied in. They work together. So when you stop improving, when you stop training, when you stop practicing, you lose the ability to do the things that you were once able to do, or the things that you were supposed to be able to do. You lose the ability. And the thing about our bodies is that they're all connected. Because when your mind is off and your mind is not growing and developing the way that it should, and processing the information that it should, your spirit is going to be misaligned. Your spirit is going to be off. Your spirit, your relationship with God is going to be out of whack because it's hard for you to understand life, to understand the meaning in a lot of things because you haven't actually clarified your thoughts by writing things down with your pen and your paper. Because writing in itself rewires your brain. So when you depend on AI too much, you stop thinking. You literally stop thinking. You outsource your thinking. You outsource your intelligence. You lose your purpose as a human being. Might not happen immediately, it happens gradually. Your spirit is weakened. Your emotions become fragile. It becomes harder to build resilience. Your mental health suffers. That is what happens when you depend on AI too much. And as a result, your entire health, your entire body starts going downhill. When it even gets worse, you will start begging these companies, these AI companies, to give you another technology to help you with another problem that you're having now, to help your spiritual connection with God, to help your mental health with God. And they will tell you, do XYZ, and we'll give you this and that. In itself, it turns into worshiping the technology. But you didn't realize that you handed over everything. You were in agreement with the technology. You volunteered your information. You volunteered all your data. Now you go running back to Google and you're like, hey, Google, help me with XYZ. You run back to ChatGPT. Hey, ChatGPT. Hey, Claude. It's me again. Can you please send a robot to my house? Can you please allow me to access my information? You give it away on your own without even realizing it. And you end up feeling like you got duped because you didn't realize it sooner. This is what happens when you hand over everything to AI on its own because you lose control. You lose control of your own health, of your own mental health, of your own emotional health, of your own spiritual health. You hand it over and you lose control. It's no longer yours. And they own you. That is what happens. Anyway, I don't want to bore you. I don't want to scare you, but I just want to be real because sometimes we think that the people that are taking this information, they care too much. They probably don't. And we see it a lot. And it's important for us to wake up. It's important for us to wake up, make the responsible decisions, understand how to live with technology in a responsible way, and use it wisely. That's what we need to do, because if we don't do that, it becomes a big problem. It becomes a big problem. So now, to just leave you with the final things that we just to summarize, this is how you can use AI to actually practically use AI and still maintain your discipline and not depend on it. Again, you can use your AI to help you plan your meals, maybe recipes, try different recipes, but still track your food. Use MyFitnessPal, track your food, weigh your food, get a kitchen scale, get your measuring cups, measuring spoons, try different recipes, maybe some that can be tastier. You can use it. You can try a workout, maybe try build a workout. They'll give you one workout. Maybe try it out, see how you like it, see if it's giving you the right pointers or not. And to your own discretion, depending on, this is not health advice, by the way. I'm not a doctor. I'm not a health professional. If you're suffering from any conditions, I'm not trying to diagnose anyone with this stream, but if you feel that you have some conditions, I think you should make an independent decision if you are going to use AI to answer health questions, or maybe you can talk to a qualified and licensed health professional or doctor, medical doctor. I think I'd go that route and see what they say if you have real health questions. And use maybe AI to help you with reviewing just the progress that you're making, maybe the numbers, the weights that you're pushing in the gym. I don't know. Maybe try it out. See if it gives you a baseline, right? Based on your own results. What do you have, right? But use it with caution. And the most important part at the end of the day, it's not about what AI can do for you. It comes back to the foundations, the principles of health and fitness, which are you need to move daily, you need to eat healthy, you need to sleep and recover, and you need to spend time praying in scripture and just recognize that your life, your entire existence exists outside technology as a person, as a human being. You're not online. Your brain is not meant to be online. You're not meant to upload your brain online, but you exist in this real world. I know I'm talking to you on a computer, very ironic, but and you're hearing me from a phone or a TV or computer, but realize that our lives right now, as we're seeing each other, we're talking to each other while we're online, but once we leave here, we have real lives. We have real lives. This is just, another platform where you just upload your videos, but we have real lives. And one of the things that I want to say is we have launched our community on School. So if you haven't checked it out, I want to invite you. I want to invite you to a community on School. It's actually fresh. I want to see if you can if you want to come and check it out. So that'd be amazing. So this is our community on school. The link is in the description. So it's a free community so that we can actually chat, have more of conversations with other people as well. And yeah, and then we can grow. You can invite your friends as well to come take part, and we can all just hang out and get to know each other at least, so that it's not just all online. And then we can actually have some chats, some calls where we can all just hang out and introduce each other, and yeah, and just get to know other people, because I know some people are probably just walking the faith journey on their own. Some people walking the fitness journey. Some people are trying to get some things in place, their health and other things. But I think one of the best things that we can do is we can actually just get together with other people. You can chat with other people, and we can build a community with people that are like minded, that are Christ centered, and really focusing on improving and growing in faith, health, habits, and becoming faithful stewards. So that is the goal for the community as well. So we want to make sure that we can walk, strengthen each other's walk, faith, everything. So feel free to check the links in the description. And if you want any of the journals, you can also check them out in the description. That's the 30-day, 90-day, 180 days. And if you also need one-on-one coaching, links in the description. You can submit your application and I can review it. So feel free to go check it out. Everything is linked in the description. If there's anything else that's there that you find interesting, feel free to click the link. And I will catch you tomorrow. We'll likely be talking about continuing this conversation, because I think the AI conversation is a very important conversation, especially the intersection of AI and faith and religion. Like, I think this is one of the most important topics that we should start discussing. Like, as believers, how are we supposed to interact with AI? Because it's been forced upon us. It's been forced upon us. Like everything that we use, literally everything that we use. The other solution is probably just leave, ditch it. I don't know, but think about it. I want to know from you. Like, what do you think? What do you think we should do? So, I'll catch you tomorrow.